my lucky day.
No, I'm not interested. You know, okay.
Odds reveal by... Huh. It's been a while
Huh?
since we first set foot on Inazuma.
Huh?
So many
What?
things have happened since then.
As if in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, we've definitely made some progress on our journey. So, where should we go today?
Wait a moment.
Huh? What's up?
Oh, what is that? Someone's coming.
Hey, what the heck was that for?
Wow, what is that blade?
Doesn't want to talk, huh? Alright, let's convince him to calm down a little.
Huh? So you don't have a vision after all?
No.
Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right person before you go attacking them. No, wait. Even when you've got the right person, you shouldn't go attacking them out of the blue. It's dangerous.
Have you ever met
Exactly.
someone by the name of Kazuha?
Oh, he's on my
He
party.
carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animal vision.
Why are you looking for him?
That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
What the heck is this guy's problem? Coming around here, waving that weird sword in our faces, and he didn't even apologize. Seems like a real nutcase. Well, one thing's for sure. No way are we telling him anything about Kazuha.
I think this guy may have a special connection with Kazuha.
A special connection? You mean beyond already knowing each other?
Can't say for sure, but...
Yeah, maybe a little. But then again, most people look pretty much the same once they start fighting, so that doesn't really prove anything.
Good
Anyway,
point.
There's no time to lose. Let's go tell Kazuha so we won't get into any danger. Paimon heard that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there.
Huh? Oh, is Beidou gonna be there? Let us not look at... Chao.
Hey, hello. Do you know where
What is
Kazuha
he looking at?
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after all.
Two?
Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time, as soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd of Inazumans, all of them wanting to know about Kazuha. If it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beidou had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention. Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
What?
Oh, so you still don't know what he did.
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no
Oh! I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Hitotachi. Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be?
I mean, Kazuha saved Lumin, right? So it's a big deal. It's like a huge deal, you know?
He was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryo Commission. They said they had something important to discuss with him. I thought they'd come to arrest him at first. Turns out they couldn't have been friendlier to him. Seems like they really respect the guy.
Just a little while ago, this would have been completely unimaginable.
So last year... Was it last year? Yeah, it was last year. Kazuha blocked the Muso no Hitotachi? I'm bad at remembering things that I'm not in English. And now people are starting to look for him. We're gonna meet Raiden Shogun. Do we have Dango? I'll give her a Dango. Kazuha? What the?
Oh? It's you.
What's up?
Greetings. We were just discussing the repealing of the Vision Hunt decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation. The Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over the years. The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaidahara name.
Huh.
Regarding the history of the Kaidahara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat informed?
I have no idea.
Well then, what brings the two of you here?
Yeah, we just arrived.
We
That's
nearly
it.
forgot about the most important thing.
we just
Why
arrived
would such a
and got
dangerous
into the
individual be looking
conversation.
from me?
Could it be someone you trained with under the same master?
No. This puzzles me as much as it does you. My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality.
All the more reason to watch your back. This guy was a serious nutcase.
Nutcase.
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury, or worse. Come on, let's go and track down your aggressor.
Kazuha is back.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town.
Heizhou? Yeah, probably Heizhou. They say about investigation, right? Oops.
To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaidehara's personal information. Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the
Jesus
information they want.
Christ, millions of
If
Mora.
these were more legitimate commissions,
Bro.
Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
I can leak the information of Kazuha because I am his friend, and I'm gonna be so rich, you know? And I got the millions of Mora. But no. Friends over money, you know? Friends over Mora. Okay?
Of course. No matter what, we only take on legitimate cases. We don't make our money by revealing details of other people's day-to-day life just for the sake of it.
It sucks.
Sorry, I got a little off topic. What I'm really trying to say is, it doesn't surprise me that a complete stranger is looking for Mr. Kaedehara. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time.
Okay.
One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato.
Collector?
The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Okay, that's some valuable
Now
clues.
there's a familiar name.
Oh, it's the weapon.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smithy. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely connected, but I don't know much in the way of details.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha. What brings you here today?
You 2 know each other?
The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew.
Huh?
We hope to assist with the
Oh, yeah.
investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look
Huh?
and said that he was going to give me a great gift.
The
I believe
blade.
He went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse. And
A-
neither of them came back.
A fire?
Yes. Strange, isn't it?
What?
I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. Anyway, should you find him, please let me know as soon as possible.
Don't worry. You have our word.
From the sound of that, Paimon doesn't think Yuya was the one who attacked us as well.
We still need to get the info from Nagato family.
Yes. Let's pay a visit to the Nagato household.
Hello, Nagato.
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now.
Huh?
My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation. We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
I'm
No.
afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. Can we perhaps ask some questions about your family's current situation?
That's a long story. Ever since I've known him, he's been an avid collector of all sorts of things. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, I was happy to believe that they were just extremely important to him. Everything was fine when we first got married, but as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Oh, no. Not
Oh,
that kind of story. So
He lost
sad.
his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money just so he could pay for them.
This is like when you got married to a gamer, you know? Like he started buying more and more in-game money. And we started borrowing money just to spend more money in-game to get the 2D characters or weapons or something. It's so real. Oh my god, Genshin Impact, stop.
Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons.
Weapons, of course.
There were
That's what I
days when he'd
said.
spend hours down at the warehouse, admiring his weapons even as debt collectors were descending upon our house. He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them. Just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. I'm happy he has a hobby, and I'm willing to support him.
Hobby,
But
see?
making ends meet has to come first. I've tried talking to him about it so many times, but he never listens. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts, I would divorce him and take the children with me.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, poor guy. Poor guy. Maybe that's the reason she left me. I spent too much money on game. Oh no. Oh no.
If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family?
That's correct. That's true.
The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
Oh no.
I see. I understand. Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their disappearance. The fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded, though its exact role is a mystery. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Amenoma Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted and passive.
Oh wow.
Neither seems like the type of person who is inclined towards initiating conflict. If we can solve the case, both Mr. Amenoma and Mrs. Nagato will be able to get some closure.
okay. But where should we go now?
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's still a chance we may be able to find some shreds of evidence. Wait. I hear something ominous in the wind.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that only you can hear. As sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament, so...
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
Come to think of it, there's a scent in the sound. How?
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It
What?
felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma. The remnants of the Tatarigami.
Tarigami?
Indeed. But this unexpected spring of inauspicious energy may prove to be of benefit to our investigation. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder, amassing
at-
more and more possessions, even as he put himself in grave debt.
Look at Leovinn's face.
According to this letter, A conflict arose because Ame-no-ma Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to Mr. Nagato. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here to write this letter when his strength gave out.
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters, and I'm afraid he may no longer be with us.
Why here? Is there anything special about this place?
I'm not sure, but on closer examination, I sense that the aura may have lingered here at several different points in time.
Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
Oh. Yuya! Is it?
Kaedehara Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before. What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have against Kazuha?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Ame-no-ma Yuya that stands before us. But what if instead of facing Ame-no-ma Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Damn. The blade.
The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state of mind, and more recently using the sale as a means to affect, or rather as a means to occupy, Ame-no-ma Yuya's body.
Oh.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the
Okay.
matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Indeed. At that point in time, he
Where's
failed
Raiden
to live
Gokaden,
up to the Raiden Shogun's
Gokaden?
expectations. In the end, all he could do was to flee the nation by sea on a ship bound for Snezhnaya. He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, his skill, it culminated in his creation of me. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also an irreplaceable achievement in the art of blade forging. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. Moving from one person to the next, I controlled the minds of countless hosts along the way, each bringing me one step closer to my ancestral home. I seek but one thing: to face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power, the might of Ishin art.
Oh, wait.
So Ame-no-ma Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, what happens to those you've possessed when you've finished using them?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission. When they got tired, or injured, or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're awful.
So we are talking to a blade.
After I returned to Inazuma, I decided
to a
bide
freaking
my
blade.
time in Nagato's warehouse until Ame-no-ma Yuya handed himself over to me on a silver platter. Kaedehara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now, give your body over to me!
Nah.
Join me and sever that divine light!
Nah, I will not join you, sir. What is his damage, bro? I'm not hurt. Like, wait, what?
Join me and sever that divine light! Do not stand in my way, or I will strike you down too!
Me?
You're bluffs fooling no one. You've lost.
I mean,
Lost. I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. By any means necessary, and any medium available, I shall return and fulfill my destiny!
it's shiny.
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art. But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as
Oh,
a thinly veiled mania and despair. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition. You believe I am your only hope.
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you?
You are! You
On his
are!
deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin Art's secrets. The little that you know barely scratches the surface.
Now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. That brings me to my second point. There's a despair in you that is so strong it threatens to overwhelm you. You were
Oh,
determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand
psychological
and too
battle.
heavy for you to bear. Each step you have taken has come at a great cost. Even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker
my
would have
God.
desired?
the scenery is perfect.
How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony between a blade and its bearer?
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought into being. I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly. But you also underestimate my resolve.
And you should face reality.
It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedahara clan. If you wish to save this man, then offer me your body in exchange.
How stubbornly you stick to your wayward path. I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet, and I will put your strength to the test.
What?
Huh?
Surely you're not planning to agree to his demands.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more than convince you. Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your control.
I accept. Now, take me in your hand.
Let's go! Free weapon. Oh, free weapon. Let's go.
Kazuha?
I'm okay. I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment.
What about Amenoma Yuya? What should we do with him?
The blade says he'll let Amenoma Yuya trail us silently. Although he hasn't regained his own consciousness yet, he is not in any immediate danger.
Are we sure this is a good idea? It's a pretty treacherous journey. Okay, fine. Just be careful.
Alright, we got a free weapon. Oh no, the weapon's gone. We got a weapon! Alright, I don't know. I think this weapon is special to this,
How are
only.
you feeling? You okay?
I'm okay.
I'm all right. The blade is performing largely as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult to use. Though he's making every effort to persevere, I do not think he can last much longer.
Let's get down to business.
One with nature!
That hurts.
Into the wind!
C1.
Whoa, something's up with the blade.
It's grown dimmer.
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult for me to wield. He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps persisting, he will likely break apart at any
Oh
moment.
no. Wait. Did I miss chest?
Are you okay? It looked like you were really struggling the entire fight.
Yes. And it looks like he's reached his limit.
The sheen's grown a bit dimmer again. It doesn't look anywhere near as impressive as it did at the start.
Perhaps this time, we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
True form? What are you talking about?
Hey,
Huh?
what happened?
What the? Is this the same blade as before?
Huh?
It's like a piece of junk.
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the almighty Shogun. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left you battered and broken. It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, you have seen me for who I really am. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. You are the first person to know the truth.
Wow.
I thought that if I could achieve Ishin harmony with you, perhaps there would still be a ray of hope for me.
But in this too, you have failed.
Too much time has passed. My physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen.
It's breaking apart.
Yours is the blade that took on the Muso no Hitotachi. And what a magnificent blade it is. Perhaps I shall never reach that level of glory.
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my travels in Liyue.
What?
Forging
It's
and
being real.
maintenance are both important for a blade, but they are not everything. This blade has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Plus, in the moment that I most needed it, I received aid from another power. Skill, blade, determination, and desire. All these must be aligned in the practice of Ishin art. I feel a great sense of regret for you. Since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination you were destined never to reach. The moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true potential. And yet there was no way for you to turn your back on his ambition. You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say. He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. Let's give him some time to reflect on things.
Who are you? I'm Kazuha. What's better than one Kazuha? Two Kazuhas!
Finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the bet, I will honor the agreement.
Why is this story
and
so
release
sad?
Ame no Mayuya. But I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition.
You don't
It
have
is the
to.
entire purpose for my existence. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself and my creator?
Hey! Now you're adding yours into the mix, too? Gee, don't push your luck, mister.
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Ame no Mayuya as promised. You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand in battle and experience a true duel between samurai.
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
I will release Amenoma Yuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you can convince him to commit to a fight with you.
Huh?
You must have plenty of reasons to both hate me and desire a good fight.
Understood. Then let's start by waking him up and seeing if he has the stamina and will to fight. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then.
Oh, Kazu's so cute
Successor
from...
of Ishin art, Kaedehara Kazuha.
Successor of Amenoma art, Amenoma Yuya.
Okay.
Honored to cross blades with you.
Last
It is my
duel.
honor also.
The last duel.
Thank you for the experience.
Thank
Though
you.
he appears battered and broken, in your hands it seems he's regained a glimmer of brilliance.
Thank you.
His sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away. But that same sense of determination remains strong.
You also fought well. I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
You need not seek my forgiveness.
Oh,
Nor
man.
do I have the right to forgive you on your victim's behalf. It is too late for all of that.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy.
Man,
Maybe we can go back there together.
It's Yuya! You have returned!
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return safely.
Damn.
A prized Ishin blade, turned weapon that controls the human mind. Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of possibility. This is a great pity. But I have some good news as well. Ryuji, from the Bonton Sango Detective Agency, tells me that they've found the missing Mr. Nagato.
Really? Is he okay?
Yes, badly wounded, but
Ah.
he will live.
No.
And now that Yuya is
Oh my god, the story is so
seems like
sad.
the final ending to this story is a happy one after all.
I think I know what you want to do. He said he wants to take control of me for a brief moment. He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish. And he assures me that he won't use my body for anything nefarious. I have decided to let him do it. Okay, I am ready. Let us begin. Please, stay true to your promise.
Damn.
My power is almost spent.
Oh my
Without
god.
him, my eventual
Damn.
demise is inevitable.
It's on a domain.
But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything? You mean...
Yes, the cost is my entire consciousness.
Oh no.
You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art.
Oh
Once
no.
remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come.
Oh, it's getting restored.
Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands.
Tuturuli, Mo.
Still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan.
Oh
Over
wow.
the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin.
Kazuha Ishin.
Is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
Oh, goodbye.